hopefully you can see the gloss through the camera, because in person it's just amazing. On camera it doesn't really do justice, to be quite frank. All right, everyone, so you're probably wondering why I have a 50/50 tape line on my hood, and the simple answer is this popped into my head, and I said, you know what, let me put two professional grade certified ceramic coatings head to head and see how it'll last real world. Also, for the hood only, what I'm going to do is, if you guys want, just leave a comment down below if you guys want to see a torture test on the hood. But for the rest of the vehicle, I'm still going to apply it the same way. So this whole half is going to be one coating, the certified coating, and the other one would be the other certified coating. So what are the two coatings? And before I get into it, we did polish, we did prep everything off screen, and what we used for the driver's side, we ended up using Pelias panel prep because I do not have the Armour Detail Supply panel prep. They didn't have it in stock, and yes, so we ended up using Pelias panel prep. It's a fantastic panel prep. And for the passenger side, we ended up using Veritas. This is their panel prep, diluted 1:5, and this is how much I got left, pretty much. But this is what we ended up using for the whole passenger side. Now, let's talk about the coating. So for the intro, you already know we're gonna be using the Armour Pro Quartz coating. And for the Labocosmetica one, which one? I'm not gonna go their crazy, 7-year one, or, Blindo and HPC. I'm gonna be using STC from Labocosmetica topped with HPC, because this two together is a 5-year coating. Pretty much a 5-year coating, as opposed to this is a 5-year coating as well. So it's just a fair comparison. Now, another thing is there's pros and cons for both. One is a dual layer, the other one is a single layer. But I will get more into each one as I'm applying it. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this part, and let's start applying the ceramic coating. And another thing to note is once I apply the panel prep, I like to let the vehicle sit for about 15 to 20 minutes, just because I want the rest of the surfactants and stuff in the panel preps to evaporate off the paint, so that way it's completely clean. And yeah, so let's get started with coating the vehicle. All right, so we're gonna start off on the driver's side, and pretty much let's talk about the packaging. So the Armour Detail Supply, fantastic packaging. And yeah, that's about it. It comes with that applicator and the coating in here, nice and snug. So yeah, I was shaking this before off screen, but you always want to shake a ceramic coating for about a minute or so. And that's about it. For application, let's read it together real quick, just as a quick summary, so we make sure we're doing everything right. But once we prep everything above, it says, after thorough preparation, prime the applicator with 3 lines. Start each application with only a small amount. Low goes a long way. Apply Armour Pro 1 panel at a time using a methodical back and forth or crosshatch motion. Set for 1 to 3 minutes depending on the temperature and humidity, generally 1 to 2 minutes. Look for uniform small sweat beads or light hazing to appear before removing. Okay, so that's it. And then in a small circular motion, level 95% of the coating with the first wipe with the short nap, which we have the Pro Weave towels right up there. And level the second one off, let me see, with a short nap. The first wipe will be a slight grab, but the product should pick up easily. If the coating begins to smear, it needs additional time. Okay, so pretty much just like any other type of ceramic coating. I've heard this coating is a thick one, so we will see what's up. And then use a fresh, for step number 5, use a fresh side of your removal towels every other panel. You may need 2 first wipe towels when using Armour Pro. Allow 1 to 2 hours if you choose to layer Armour Pro on top of Armour. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack this on just to be fair. And it says allow 1 to 2 hours. So, all right. that's what we're gonna do. We are going to stack Armour Pro, and let's get started. Another thing I do want to say is I do have space heaters on both sides. So inside the garage, it feels about 65 degrees in here. Outside is 55. So, yep, that's about it. I was shaking this off screen, so I'm gonna keep shaking this as I grab the other towels right over here. Just so people don't say I didn't shake the coating enough. So, another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But I shook it off screen anyway, so like I said, it doesn't really matter how much more I need to shake after this. Popping the seal up. In terms of smell, a little solvent smell, nothing too crazy. And I'm gonna use the green side. I'm gonna use the green side. It says prime the pad with 3 lines, so that's 1 line there. And this is a thick coating. That's a too thin of a line. And we are good to go. Let me just box this right here. Just like that. And the pad is prime. Now, they set in a crosshatch pattern, panel at a time. Ooh, yeah, this is a thick coating. So I'm gonna box my entire corner in first, and I'm gonna do that. Yeah, this is a thick coating. You wanna make sure you add even coverage. Come back up, and it gets very sticky on there, so we're gonna leave it as that and make sure I cover by the tape line just so I am fair across. I gotta get this edge down here and make sure there's even coverage, and that's about it. It says sit for 1 to 2 minutes until we see little beads or it starts to haze or sweat. Everything is evenly covered. All right, everyone, so to not bore any of you, this is how the ceramic coating cures on the surface, and it starts sweating, beading, and a light haze forms. An ADS Pro coating, it is thicker than most, and when you're ready to level off the coating, it is grabby, and then it turns slick right after with the second wipe. So that's something for you to all note. And then the other thing about the ADS coating as well is I did let it sit there for a bit longer than expected, so I did need a tiny bit of elbow grease to level off the rest, but I ended up finding out that 2 minutes and 20 seconds was the best time, and I ended up actually putting a timer after this than actually just eyeballing the time and waiting the full 3 minutes. But all in all, the coating is a fantastic coating. 1 layer is 5 years, but we ended up putting 2 layers to secure and make sure we give it a little bit more longevity compared to STC because it is a dual layer ceramic coating from Labocosmetica. But all in all, very easy to apply. You're definitely going to need multiple applicators for sure. We ended up using 2 applicators, and for this applicator from ADS that was included inside the ADS Pro, we ended up flipping it after 3 to 4 panels because the applicator started to actually get crunchy and it wasn't spreading the ceramic coating evenly. So that's something to also know as well. Coating went on nice. It is super slick. I don't want to touch it anymore because it's slick, but time to apply the coating on the rest of the vehicle. And that's it. Easy application. Quick 10 minutes. I may fast forward this clip just to make it like 7 minutes long, but we did have to wait the full 3 minutes to ensure it bonded perfectly. And that's it. Driver's side is done with the Armour Pro, and we're gonna wait 1 hour or 2 hours, and then we'll apply the second coat just to make sure it gets its full longevity. And the applicator does get hard after a couple panels. So after like 3 panels, I had to switch over to this side, and then I finished off literally the rest. So yeah, after 3-4 panels, this got hard, then I switched and did the other 3-4 panels. So you're gonna need multiple applicators if you're going to apply Armour Pro for sure on your entire vehicle. So the next time I apply the other half again or layer it, I'm going to use a different applicator. And yeah, let's move on to the STC from Labocosmetica. I was shaking this off screen. I took it off. The presentation is amazing. It's pretty much the same as the SAM coating, so go ahead, check that video out. But we're gonna apply STC, which is a 70% physical and 30% chemical coating. What does that mean? Well, the 70% physical means it actually has physical protection that adds on your actual car's paint. And I'll get more into it when I fast forward and talk about it, because I'm gonna apply it on the vehicle and I'm going to do a voiceover on it just because I want to get all the information right to you guys off rip, because this is definitely a new type of ceramic coating that I've used, and this is actually, like I said, 70% physical and 30% of it is chemical. So first things first, in terms of application, it's fairly simple. They give you a block and a bunch of suede give you like 3 suede applicators. But since we're coating half the vehicle, 1 would be enough. And we're just gonna use it the way they intend to use it, because this is STC and I just wanna make sure I remove any variables. Next up, ready to open up the coating. I already shook this up a bunch of times. And one thing that's very important is they want you to do in one singular motion, which is either straight up and down or left and right, without it cross-linking itself again. So pretty much the same way I applied the SAM ceramic coating. And we're gonna pop this open. In terms of smell, you know, you're not supposed to smell ceramic coatings, but it's not a strong smell whatsoever. And this coating is thick. Look, it's thick just like Armour Detail Supply one. Look how thick it is. It doesn't want to come out. Really gotta shake it. Like the Armour Detail Supply, you leave it like this and it comes out. But this, you really got to apply it. And I'm going to prime my pad on my applicator. And yep, that's it. Let's move on to the application process. And this is going to be as methodical as possible. Ensure I get even coverage without cross-linking itself again. It's okay if you go over it, you know, one more time, but in terms of like going in circular motions back and forth, you just want to apply a even layer on it. I'm gonna set a timer like I was doing with the Armour Detail Supply one. All right, everyone, so I apologize. I stepped on the tripod and flipped the camera over, or my phone. So I already applied it in a straight singular motion. It's already rainbowing, as you can see. It's already been about 2 minutes. So I am ready to level this coating down. And you apply it, like I said, in straight lines in one motion. All right, so let's talk about STC and what is STC from Labocosmetica. But when I did apply it on the paint, I let it sit there for 1 to 3 minutes, the recommended time, depending on temperature and humidity, before it's ready to be leveled off. Now, one thing to know about STC is a lot easier to level off than the ADS Pro, but the downside is it needs to be layered with HPC for you to get its full 5 years of durability, as opposed to ADS, which is single layer 5-year ceramic coating. So those are the pros and cons. Now, what is STC? So STC is a 70% physical and a 30% chemical coating. And what does that mean? Pretty much the 70% physical, it actually leaves a resin behind, like a physical resin. And when I remove the 50-50 tape line the next day, you will see that it's a lot more prominent than the ADS side, because there's an actual physical resin that is left behind on the paint. And then of course, it has 30% chemical resistance, but that's why they say to top it with HPC, because it gives it its slickness and chemical resistant. So that's one thing to know about STC. Labocosmetica does offer their best ceramic coating, which is Blindo, but Blindo is a actual physical 100% physical repairable coating, meaning it self heals itself, and you can actually use medium grade polish to remove any light swirls and scratches that are on the paint, and just top it again with HPC to give it its chemical resistance. But that's pretty much it, really. I think STC is self-healing to a degree as well. I'm not too sure, but probably somebody could leave a description down below. But that is something that is actually really cool about STC, is its physical properties of actually leaving a resin behind, and you will see at the end of the video what I mean. But all in all, both fantastic coatings, and that's it. That's pretty much it. You just apply it in a singular motion like I was doing, even coverage, and get ready to level off and then top off with HPC. All right, everyone, so quick update. We've applied the second layer on the Armour side, and this is the second applicator, and then this is the very first one. After an hour and a half, it's rock solid. You can even hear it, and it hardened up nicely, and very easy coating to use. It's sticky at first and then gets slick. Next, for STC, we've already applied the first layer on the other half of the vehicle, and all in all, these are the two suede applicators we used, and you see it's starting to crystallize here and there, and we're gonna let that cure. Same thing is, I applied a bit of STC, as you can see a little bit on the screen, and I'm shaking it. I just applied it just now. I want to see how it hardens up, because it is a 70% physical coating, so it's supposed to be, I'm guessing, like a little bit of a resin type, and it gets hard. So I want to see that as well, and that's about it. Nothing to it. We gotta wait 3 hours until we apply HPC as a top coat. So let's see how this cures in 3 hours as well. And yeah, so the time is 6:56. So at, let's say 9:30, because to be honest, we finished this at 6:30. So at 9:30, we're gonna get ready to apply that. So apply HPC, and that's it. So Armour is already done, single layer. After an hour, go ahead and apply the second layer. This is why it's taken a while. If not, we would have done the whole vehicle easily. But yeah, see you at 9:30 when we're ready to apply HPC. So what is HPC in a nutshell from Labocosmetica? Let me just run through it. So pretty much it is a top coat where you can put it on top of Blindo, STC, or SAM. Think of it like Gtechniq's EXO, where it's best applied as a top coat, but you can use it as a standalone and it will last about 2 years. But the reason why we're applying HPC is because it has crazy chemical resistance, crazy water beading, and crazy slickness, which STC doesn't have a lot of slickness. And one thing to know about STC was, when you're applying HPC on top of STC, it feels a little bit rough, like a grabby, rough texture, but that's because of the physical resin that's left behind from STC on the vehicle. So you want to smooth that out and apply a slicker feel and fill in those little tiny pores with HPC. So that's the reason why we applied HPC on top of STC. But other than that, in terms of using HPC, is very easy. You just apply it in a crosshatch pattern, you let it sit there, it starts sweating and beading, and you wait 2 to 6 minutes. We waited 6 minutes and it was ready to level off. Easy as that, nothing much to it. And yeah, so that's it for STC and HPC. All right, everyone, so I didn't have my microphone for the last bit. I apologize, I ended up putting it in, but it is 9:28. That's still the timer. We have 10 seconds left. Let me just pause this before it starts ringing. But the way this coating works is, the top coat is, you apply it and then it sweats or streaks, and then you have these little beads. So pretty much it sweats, and you see it all over here. It is 60 degrees inside my garage, so what I ended up doing was just leaving it for the maximum amount of time, and we will see if it starts, if it's easy to remove. If not, we'll just shorten the time. That's about it. That's the only fair assessment I can really give. So these are 2 other leveling towels, and that's it. So the first one, level off easy wipe off, no issues here. And one thing I must note is that the STC coating that I wanted to say, it feels rough to the touch, and even applying the STC on top of it feels rough. And what I'm gonna do is just leave the STC here, well, not the STC, the HPC, sorry, the top coat. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna level it off within 4 minutes because it's a little bit harder to wipe off at this time. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're gonna wait 4 minutes and get ready to level off. And leveled off just fine, just a tad bit of elbow grease, nothing too drastic, and everything leveled off just fine. As you see there, there's a little high spot there, but just be methodical, look for your high spots, you don't want to leave any streaks, and that's about it. So that's it with this. We're going to do the voiceover, and we'll see how everything cures or how everything looks. So we'll take a look later. It is the next morning, and this is how the vehicle looks. This is the Labo side, super glossy. That's the STC topped with HPC. And let's go to the Armour Pro side, and same thing, just look at that gloss, super glassy. But all in all, let's do a quick recap. So I did leave this overnight. I pour a little bit more of the resin on here of the STC, and that's what hardens on your clear coat. And the Armour Detail Supply, here's the applicators, super crunchy. Left this here overnight as well, and I ended up putting a little bit of STC on here. So let me show you in the sun, because I wanted to pull it up, and it cured up nicely. Look at that. That's the resin from STC, and that's what hardens on your clear coat. So that is what left behind once you level it, is a resin. So that's why it's topped with HPC. But all in all, it's time to remove the tape line, and I'm gonna remove it slow. But the tape line removed, you see the entire 50/50 right here. I removed the tarp as well off screen, but all in all, this is what it looks like. You see the distinct 50/50 line. And also, just for context, it is 55 degrees today, and inside the garage it feels like 65 because I had the heater on. But yeah, so this is pretty much how it looks. Nice distinct line between both coatings, and this one looks wider in person, and even on camera you could see the distinct, correlation. Look how much thicker this side looks compared to the Armour Detail Supply one. So I'm gonna pull this out in the sun. All right, everyone, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you can see the gloss through the camera, because in person it's just amazing. On camera, it doesn't really do justice, to be quite frank. But all in all, the quick recap of what was done. So we applied the Armour Detail Supply Quartz Pro on the driver's side, and we put 2 layers of that. Why did we put 2 layers? Because Labocosmetica STC is a dual layer coating, or performs better with the dual layer, which is STC topped with HPC, and Armour Detail Supply is a 1-layer 5-year coating. But if you layer it again, you get that extra bit of longevity and protection, of course. And you see the distinct lines on both, but the Labocosmetica is a lot more prominent, and you could definitely tell and feel that you left something very thick behind on the surface. So yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. All the products will be down below in the description for you guys to order. Yes, you can't order STC or their Pro from Armour Detail Supply, but what you can do is definitely try out their consumer or prosumer grade coatings, which is their SAM topped with HPC, which is a phenomenal coating. If you guys haven't watched that video, go check that out. And this is my first time using the Armour Detail Supply Pro Quartz coating. I did apply the regular one on another vehicle, so stay tuned for that video to come out. And just 2 juggernauts right now that's making waves, and it will be fun to see how well these Pro ceramic coatings last. Also, another thing to note, if you guys want to see a chemical resistance test, we could do it on the hood, and that's about it. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and other than that, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.